But it was funny because last night we went in and, I mean, the White House looked beautiful. It was spectacular. And I was looking for some Fox News colleagues because this is for broadcast news.
Hollywood scandals never seem to simmer down, do they? One minute, you're hearing about a promising new movie. And the next, rumors, leaked clips, and lawsuits are overshadowing the entire production. Well, that's exactly what's happening with It Ends With Us, starring Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. The big shocker? A behind-the-scenes video has sparked claims of boundary-crossing behavior, with major personalities, like Megyn Kelly, diving headfirst into the debate. Is this a genuine controversy or just clever PR spin? Buckle up because this roller coaster is about to plunge into twists you won't see coming. The buzz began with a short, seemingly innocent snippet of Blake and Justin practicing a dance scene. At first glance, it looked playful. They were leaning in close, sharing a few laughs, and joking about everything from lingering eye contact to their spouse's quirks. But in the era of viral content, every gesture gets dissected, and before long, the internet went wild. Some viewers saw pure chemistry, a friendly exchange between co-stars. Others claimed it crossed a professional line. The chatter escalated when top-tier commentators started weighing in, including Megyn Kelly, who dismissed the entire fuss as nothing more than a nothing burger. In her view, the clip actually showed two consenting adults bantering in an environment full of cameras and crew, hardly a private moment of questionable conduct. For some fans, that was enough. They wrote it off as typical on-set behavior. But the story only got more complicated once allegations and legal documents began to leak. Viewers began to wonder, was there a context we weren't seeing? Did someone cleverly edit the footage to fan the flames? And if it was all innocent, why would people like Megyn Kelly even bother addressing it on national TV? One thing became certain. The swirl of rumors turned a quick behind-the-scenes glimpse into a full-blown scandal, raising far bigger issues about on-set boundaries, star power, and who really calls the shots in Hollywood. But that wasn't the whole story. The mild curiosity around a short clip soon turned into a hailstorm of accusations, lawsuits, and pointed fingers. Suddenly, that playful dance on set felt more like a tinderbox ready to spark an inferno. Following the viral explosion, Justin Baldoni filed a defamation claim, pointing fingers at major media outlets.
I'm honored, and I'm also more honored that because, what we're talking about is so important and so meaningful, that we're able to have this much anticipation, and so many people want to go see it and are talking about it. That's what I'm grateful for.
And you had a key part in bringing it to the big screen. How did this all come to be?
Well, in 2019, I read the book. I was sent the book by my book agent and friend at the time, and I was looking for films that could inspire, that were commercially viable, but also could really reach in and touch somebody's heart.
He insisted their coverage painted him as a manipulative director who overstepped with Blake. Then, in a move that nobody saw coming, he slapped Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds with a jaw-dropping $400 million lawsuit. Yes, you heard that right, $400 million. So what's behind that astronomical number? According to Justin, Blake used her fame to overshadow him, took creative control of the film in ways she wasn't contractually entitled to, and drummed up negative press specifically to tarnish his reputation. He contended that once the behind-the-scenes clip spread online, Blake's team used it as proof of wrongdoing, fueling a media narrative that positioned him as the bad guy. But Blake didn't stay silent. She shot back with claims that Justin's behavior made her uncomfortable from the start. Court papers allege that he choreographed scenes that weren't in the script and said off-the-cuff lines that felt far too intimate for a purely professional setting. The tension grew to a boiling point when leaked text messages appeared on social media, purporting to show that both parties might have been feeding gossip columns behind the scenes. For fans, this was no longer a fleeting spat. It became a legal storm, with two A-listers airing their grievances in the press, then turning to the courts to settle it. If you thought an on-set drama over a dance scene was the entire story, guess again. We're talking tabloid headlines, attorneys volleying statements back and forth, and a federal judge stepping in to warn them about the risks of trying this case in the media. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more outrageous, a particular phrase from Blake's texts started trending. She compared herself to Daenerys Targaryen, hinting that she had her own dragons ready to defend her. Let's talk about these dragons. Word on the street says Blake referred to her husband Ryan Reynolds, whose comedic genius and blockbuster track record speak for themselves, and best friend Taylor Swift, a music icon with a massive global following, as her personal, reinforcements. Think about it. Who would dare challenge that duo in a public feud? In Hollywood, star power can be a nuclear force, especially if those stars decide to weigh in on your behalf. Justin Baldoni wasn't exactly thrilled about being cast as the underdog. In his legal filings, he claimed Blake was flexing her celebrity might to undermine him, overshadow his creative vision, and make him look unprofessional. Imagine trying to hold your own in a rumor mill that includes not just the usual internet sleuths, but also some of the most recognizable names on the planet, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. The conversation quickly turned to the question of whether star power can tip the scales of public opinion before facts are fully established.
I think most actors' dream is to be able to do a period piece film, but I got to do an every period piece film because this dates back to 1908 till now. So to explore the different decades, the fashion, the hair and makeup, and just how women were treated in each of those different eras.
For better or worse, Hollywood is a land of alliances. Whose side are you on? Whose circle do you run in? Add in the Swiftie fandom or Reynolds' comedic brand, and you have a potent mix of pop culture influences that can sway how everyday fans perceive an incident, even if they don't have the full details. Still, for every rumor about Swift retribution, there were counter-rumors. Some insisted that neither Ryan nor Taylor would ever interfere in a legal showdown they weren't personally involved in. But the whispered threat alone, "I have dragons," stuck in people's minds. Whether it was literal or figurative, it underscored that Blake isn't just another actress. She's part of a Hollywood power couple and has friendships that can shape entire media narratives with a single tweet or track. But star-studded alliances aren't the only catalysts here. Enter Megyn Kelly, who took a firm stance that Blake's claims might be overblown. Once she spoke up, the tabloids and the internet had even more angles to debate. Megyn Kelly is known for her no-holds-barred opinions, so when she looked at the behind-the-scenes footage, read the legal documents, and heard the allegations, her response was swift and direct. She wasn't buying Blake's story. Kelly implied that the video evidence did not match the creepy or boundary-crossing claims. Instead, it showed two co-stars goofing off, joking about spouses and teasing each other in between takes. In Megyn's eyes, if Blake truly felt violated, she wouldn't have been so openly playful on camera. Kelly has a history of being blunt, and she didn't mince words this time either. She called the controversy absurd and questioned whether Blake was angling for sympathy. Could Lively have been playing the Me Too card to gain leverage in a creative dispute? Kelly threw that theory out there, and as you'd expect, it set off a new wave of commentary. Fans who sympathize with Blake bristled at the suggestion that she'd make up or exaggerate something so sensitive. Meanwhile, supporters of Justin Baldoni found a vindicating voice in Megyn Kelly, praising her for saying what they already believed, that the footage simply didn't reflect wrongdoing. Hollywood watchers have noted that Kelly isn't exactly an unbiased observer. She thrives on controversy, and this swirling drama made for perfect fodder. But her outspoken skepticism added more gasoline to the fire, pushing the entire dispute from insider gossip to front-page news. Whether you think she's shining a light on the truth or stirring the pot for ratings, there's no denying she turned up the volume on a topic that was already deafening. Yet all of this swirling talk is only half the tale. Behind the scenes, text messages, photos, and more clips kept popping up, each offering a new spin on whether Justin was a borderline or if Blake was rewriting events for her own benefit. As more material surfaced, fans realized that the so-called inappropriate clip wasn't the only thing dividing these two stars.
It's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have two other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much. But we're thinking of keeping her.
Does she play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of pretends to play with her. So in the beginning, our oldest is loving on her, and she's very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just keeps away from her.
Alleged text messages emerged, hinting that Blake Lively might have been just as flirty toward Justin Baldoni as he supposedly was toward her. One rumor even suggested Blake invited him to hang out while she was breastfeeding, adding a layer of personal intimacy that seemed out of place for someone claiming professional boundaries had been crossed. On the flip side, there was the controversy involving Justin Baldoni's producing partner. Blake accused this partner of showing her an offensive photo, only for the partner to later reveal that it was a heartfelt image of his wife and newborn after a home birth. According to him, there was nothing graphic about it. Did Blake misinterpret the entire situation, or was the context unclear from the get-go? These stories collectively painted a picture of two people who saw the same events through dramatically different lenses. Was Blake genuinely uncomfortable and perceiving normal Hollywood banter as something else? Or was she deliberately framing innocent moments to bolster her legal claims and PR strategy? Making matters even more complicated, multiple sets of text exchanges were released, and some looked heavily edited. Names blacked out, times cropped, messages rearranged. Whichever side you believe, it's clear that truth itself became subjective, shaped by personal motivations and legal strategies. The question on everyone's minds is simple. Can we trust any snippet of conversation without seeing the entire thread and verifying its authenticity? Right now, the public is forced to rely on partial leaks, tabloid coverage, and commentary from high-profile voices like Megyn Kelly. That's like trying to solve a puzzle with only half the pieces, and maybe a few decoys thrown in. But it gets bigger than personal text messages. Hollywood icons are being pulled into the drama, and fans from every corner are going to war on social media under Team Blake or Team Justin. In Hollywood, alliances can make or break your reputation, so it's telling that quite a few celebrities have publicly or quietly backed Justin Baldoni. Some co-stars who've worked with him on previous projects describe him as respectful, collaborative, and deeply committed to positive representation on screen. Directors and philanthropic partners have stepped forward, saying they can't reconcile the Justin as a boy narrative with the man they know.
Well, I love romance. I'm a hopeless romantic. Romance is like everywhere in my life, but I had never read a romance novel, and I didn't understand why. And I'm sure a part of that has to do with my unconscious subscription to the man box and I shouldn't, that's not manly. But I read this novel and I couldn't even finish it.
Meanwhile, Blake Lively, who is typically beloved for her style, wit, and comedic flair, hasn't received a loud chorus of Hollywood defenders, at least not publicly. That's not to say she's entirely alone. Her devoted fans remain staunchly in her corner, insisting that where there's smoke, there must be fire. And many are pointing out that it's possible for someone to appear friendly on camera while still feeling uncomfortable or coerced. The online world exploded with theories. Some argued that Blake was labeling playful flirting as something sinister to gain creative control. Others saw her as a woman shining a light on subtle power dynamics that get glossed over on movie sets. With high-profile names like Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift potentially waiting in the wings, fans speculated that once they spoke up, it would be game over for Justin. But so far, it's been radio silence from both. As for neutral observers, they're scratching their heads, wondering how so many misunderstandings could arise on a single production. Did It Ends With Us become a magnet for drama? Or is this just how big-name Hollywood deals sometimes unravel when personal boundaries aren't crystal clear from the start? There's no shortage of heated comment threads. Twitter is ablaze with side-by-side video analysis of the behind-the-scenes clip. Instagram is loaded with text message screenshots, and TikTok is brimming with deep dives into each new development. Like it or not, the entire film is overshadowed by a soap opera that's arguably more entertaining than anything the final cut might deliver. But as intense as the fan wars have become, nothing will be as definitive as what goes down in court, where a judge has already told everyone to be cautious about playing this out in the press. So far, the legal battle has made one thing clear. Both sides are digging in for a long fight. The attorneys have exchanged fiery statements, each threatening to unleash more private messages, footage, and testimonies if the other side doesn't back off. At the initial hearing, the federal judge overseeing the case issued a stern warning: stoke the flames in public at your own risk. Any attempts to sway potential jurors through media leaks and press statements might come back to haunt you when the trial officially begins. That caution hasn't entirely stopped the PR war. Headlines still pop up weekly, some focusing on small details like text timestamps, others on bigger picture questions about personal boundaries in Hollywood. According to insiders, the next steps in court could involve depositions from key witnesses, including co-stars, crew members, and possibly even the big dragons themselves, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. If that happens, the drama will skyrocket.
And we went into the audition and he signed in, and then the casting director came out and said, "Blake?" And Eric said, "Yep, that's her." And I just thought I was gonna die. And she said, "We don't have you on our call sheet." And he said, "Oh," and he put his agency's name. And so I auditioned, and I didn't know what to say in that moment. I was 16, and my brother had just written my name on a piece of paper, and they were looking at me, so I walked in the room and did the audition.
For a production that many fans were excited to see, Thanks to Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, this entire saga is overshadowing the film's actual content. Instead of celebrating a powerful love story or an emotional journey, everyone's fixated on alleged wrongdoing, outsized egos, and big money lawsuits. Whether you're Team Blake or Team Justin, it's fair to say this feud has veered far beyond the typical celebrity gossip. When a short, behind-the-scenes dance clip blew up online, nobody could have predicted it would spiral into lawsuits, public spats, and tongue lashings from talk show heavyweights. Yet here we are, uncertain about who's really at fault. Is Justin Baldoni being unfairly villainized? Or is Blake Lively exposing legitimate boundary concerns? And what happens when you toss star power, media savvy, and possible behind-the-scenes editing tricks into the equation? One fact stands out. Hollywood is a tapestry of swirling rumors and fast alliances, where public perception can shift overnight with one headline or leaked text. When multi-million-dollar lawsuits are on the line, it's hard to parse genuine truths from strategic half-truths. But that just means the stakes couldn't be higher. For reputations, careers, and the film's success, where do you land? Are you convinced by Megyn Kelly's stance that this is a mountain made out of a molehill? Or do you believe there's more to Blake's story than meets the eye? However this unravels, it serves as a cautionary tale about mixing personal rapport with professional power. It's also a reminder that in Hollywood, the line between genuine sincerity and orchestrated spin is razor thin, and whichever side wields the bigger voice might just control the narrative. For now, the final act remains unwritten. Both sides claim to hold more evidence. Both sides argue they've been wronged, and the rest of us are left watching from the sidelines, waiting to see how the biggest scandal tied to "it ends with us," well, ends.